Welcome to the Health Headliner podcast by Tudu Digital. Our content is informational only and not medical advice. Please consult your provider. Now, let's dive into today's headlines.
Imagine if the candles on your birthday cake didn't tell the whole story. You know that friend who seems to defy age, or maybe someone who just seems, well, to age faster than their birth certificate suggests. That's chronological age versus what we perceive. But what if your heart, or your liver, or even your brain has its own secret age, aging independently from the rest of your body? And what if we could actually measure that?
That's exactly it. What's fascinating here is precisely that concept. This new research doesn't just confirm that organs age at different rates, it actually provides a tangible way to assess it. And remarkably, it lets us predict future health outcomes. We are diving into a groundbreaking study from Stanford Medicine published in Nature Medicine. It reveals how scientists can now measure the biological age of your individual organs using, believe it or not, a simple blood test.
And that's precisely what we're here to unpack today. Our mission is to take a real deep dive into what this truly means for your health, your longevity, and, well, the very future of medicine.
Exactly. The core idea here is that scientists have developed a blood-based indicator for the biological age of your organs. Think of it as a kind of personalized internal health report. This indicator can assess an organ's age today
Okay.
and, quite astonishingly, predict the odds of you developing diseases associated with that specific organ, even up to 10 years later. They can even predict the risk of mortality related to those specific organ systems.
Wow. So this isn't just about, wrinkles or how you look on the outside. It's about the actual health of the vital organs tucked inside our bodies. And it sounds like this isn't just a guess. They've developed a pretty sophisticated way to figure this out.
They really have.
What really stands out from the study, for me anyway, is a striking finding. The biological age of one organ, the brain, seems to play an outsized role in determining how long you have left to live.
That's a key point.
Dr. Tony Wiscory, the senior author of the study, put it quite powerfully. He said, "The brain is the gatekeeper of longevity. If you've got an old brain, you have an increased likelihood of mortality. If you've got a young brain, you're probably going to live longer."
It's quite profound when you think about it. And the methodology behind this measurement is as impressive as the findings themselves. It really underpins the whole thing. To achieve this, the scientists analyzed nearly 3,000 different proteins found in the blood. And the sample size was huge, 44,498 randomly selected participants.
Whoa, hold on, 44,000?
24,498, yeah. These individuals, aged 40 to 70, were drawn from the UK Biobank, which, as you probably know, is a massive long-term health study that has monitored participants for up to 17 years.
Nearly 45,000 people. That's an enormous data set. But how did they actually pinpoint these organ-specific ages from just a blood sample? That seems like the magic trick here.
It's definitely a complex process, but it's highly ingenious. They first identified specific plasma proteins. There's just the proteins circulating in your blood
Okay.
that originate primarily from individual organs. Now, roughly 15% of the proteins they looked at could be traced back to single organ origins. Many others were linked to multiple organs, which adds complexity. These protein levels were then fed into a sophisticated algorithm.
The algorithm, right?
Yeah,
Right.
and this algorithm adjusted for each participant's chronological age to create a unique protein signature for each of 11 distinct organs or organ systems. We're talking brain, muscle, heart, lung, arteries, liver, kidneys, pancreas, the immune system, intestine, and even fat tissue.
So this protein signature tells you if your organ is performing like someone chronologically older or younger. Is that what they mean by an age gap?
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
The age gap is defined as how much an individual's organ signature deviated from the average for people of the same chronological age. They also defined extremely aged or extremely youthful.
Okay, what did that mean?
That meant a significant deviation, specifically greater than 1.5 standard deviations from that average. So, for instance, roughly 6 to 7% of participants' brains fell into these extreme categories, either much older or much younger than their birth age suggested.
And did people often have just one extreme organ, or was it common to have several?
Well, the initial findings revealed that an impressive 1/3 of participants had at least one extremely aged or extremely youthful organ. And about 1 in 4 actually had multiple such organs.
Given the sheer volume of data, nearly 45,000 individuals, 3,000 proteins, it certainly sounds like a robust foundation. But that raises an important question, doesn't it? How reliable are these age gaps in truly predicting what comes next for our health?
That's the crucial part, and the findings are quite compelling on that front. The algorithm remarkably predicted future health outcomes, organ by organ, and the strongest associations were consistently between an individual's biologically aged organ and the chance of developing a disease specifically associated with that organ.
Okay, can you give us some concrete examples of what they've found?
Certainly. An extremely aged heart, for instance, predicted a higher risk of conditions like atrial fibrillation, that's an irregular heartbeat,
Right.
or even heart failure, where the heart just can't pump enough blood effectively. Aged lungs predicted heightened chronic obstructive pulmonary disease risk, that's COPD, a progressive lung disease.
Makes sense.
And as we touched on, an old brain predicted a significantly higher risk for Alzheimer's disease. The association for Alzheimer's was particularly powerful. An extremely aged brain was associated with a 3.1 times higher risk compared to a normally aging brain.
3 times higher.
3.1 times, yeah. And to put that in perspective, maybe think about it like this. If, say, 10 people in a group might normally get an Alzheimer's diagnosis over the next decade, having an extremely aged brain means now maybe 31 of them might be at risk. It's a really significant leap. Conversely, a youthful brain offered significant protection, barely 1/4 the risk. Or, putting it another way, someone with a biologically old brain is approximately 12 times more likely to receive an Alzheimer's diagnosis over the next decade than someone the same age with a biologically young brain.
That's a staggering difference. Just incredible. And they even connected this to our genetics, didn't they? I remember reading that.
They did, yeah. They found that having an aged brain posed a risk similar to carrying one copy of a specific gene called apolipoprotein epsilon 4, APOE4 as it's known.
Right, the Alzheimer's gene.
Well, it's a major risk factor gene, yes. It's involved in how your body processes fats and strongly affects brain health. It's the strongest known genetic risk factor for sporadic Alzheimer's. And conversely, a youthful brain provided protection similar to carrying 2 copies of apolipoprotein epsilon 2, or APOE2, which is known to be protective.
Fascinating comparison.
And it gets even more compelling. Brain age turned out to be the best single predictor of overall mortality in the study. An extremely aged brain increased subjects' risk of dying by 182% over that roughly 15-year follow-up period.
182%, so almost triple the risk.
Pretty much, yeah. Conversely, individuals with extremely youthful brains had an overall 40% reduction in their risk of dying over the same duration.
Okay, but what happens when we start looking at how multiple organs age together? You said about a quarter had multiple aged organs. It sounds like it's not just about a single organ acting alone, it's about how they all play a part, maybe interacting.
It absolutely is. The study found that the accumulation of multiple aged organs progressively increased mortality risk. It wasn't just additive, it seemed to multiply. Having just 2 to 4 extremely aged organs increased risk by 2.3-fold.
Okay.
5 to 7 aged organs pushed it up to 4.5-fold. And having 8 or more extremely aged organs, that resulted in a striking 8.3-fold increase in mortality risk.
8 times the risk.
8.3 times, yeah. And get this. Over 60% of individuals who had 8 or more extremely aged organs at the time of the blood draw actually died within 15 years.
It's incredibly sobering.
It really highlights a profound shift in how we need to understand aging. It's clearly not some uniform body-wide process. It's more like a mosaic of individual organ health states. And while most youthful organs didn't show a significant mortality benefit on their own,
Oh, interesting.
youthful brains and youthful immune systems were uniquely associated with longevity. Individuals with youthful brains had that 60% reduced mortality risk we mentioned. Youthful immune systems conferred a 58% reduced risk.
Almost identical benefit.
Very close. And even more strikingly, individuals lucky enough to have both youthful brains and youthful immune systems showed the strongest protection overall. They had a 44% reduced mortality risk compared to having neither. It really underscores the disproportionately critical role these specific systems, the brain and immune system, play. Gatekeepers indeed.
Right. So thinking beyond just predicting disease or mortality, what are the bigger implications here for the future of medicine? Could this approach actually help us, prevent these diseases from happening in the first place?
That's precisely Dr. Weiss-Corey's vision, and is where this gets really exciting. He believes this approach could lead to, well, human experiments actually testing new longevity interventions much more effectively. Imagine being able to intervene before the onset of outward symptoms, like with Alzheimer's, when there's still potentially time to arrest or slow down the disease progression.
Intervening based on biological age, not just symptoms.
Exactly. And the ability to assess individual organ age can also help medical researchers understand much better how lifestyle choices, diet, even medications or supplements contribute to specific organ aging. This could inform truly personalized health strategies tailored to your unique organ age profile.
So we're talking about actionable insights here. Did the study actually find any specific lifestyle factors or even supplements that correlated with more youthful organs?
Yes, they did uncover some fascinating correlations, although, correlation isn't causation, but still interesting. Vigorous exercise, consuming oily fish, eating poultry, and having higher education levels were all associated with more youthful organs across the board.
Okay, the good stuff. What about the other side?
Well, predictably, smoking, heavy alcohol use, processed meat intake, and chronic insomnia were linked to accelerated aging across several organs. No big surprises there, perhaps.
Right.
And what was maybe a bit more novel was that even certain common supplements showed associations. Things like ibuprofen, glucosamine, cod liver oil, multivitamins, and vitamin C products. These were associated with youth primarily in the kidneys, brain, and pancreas. Again, association, not proof of effect, but intriguing leads for future research.
This really sounds like it could trigger a complete paradigm shift for how we approach health, moving away from just reacting to problems.
It absolutely does. As Dr. Westcor himself stated, this is, ideally, the future of medicine. He said, today, you go to the doctor because something aches, and they take a look to see what's broken. We're trying to shift from sick care to health care and intervene before people get organ-specific disease.
A shift from sick care to health care. I like that. Is this test something people can get now?
Not quite yet. Right now, it's primarily for research purposes.
Mm-hmm.
But Dr. Westcor does plan to commercialize it, potentially making it available in the next, say, 2 to 3 years. The cost is also expected to decrease over time, especially as the focus might narrow down to the key predictive organs like the brain, heart, and immune system for general screening.
Okay, so maybe a few years away.
Potentially. And it really raises that important question. If we can identify specific organ aging, what does this mean for truly personalized preventative medicine? It opens doors to interventions tailored precisely to an individual's biological needs, rather than just relying on their chronological age or generic advice.
It's incredibly exciting, no doubt. But it's also important, as always in science, to remember this is still developing. There are still questions and nuances to explore before this becomes, a standard clinical tool, right?
Yeah.
What are some of those limitations we should keep in mind?
Certainly, and that's crucial. One limitation is confirming the true origin of all those proteins found in the blood. While the study identified proteins enriched in specific organs, determining precisely where they came from versus where they just ended up circulating in the bloodstream can be tricky. Scientists use different methods like transcriptomics, which looks at gene activity in tissues to infer protein sources, and proteomics, which analyzes the proteins actually present in blood. These don't always paint the exact same picture.
Okay, so the protein origin isn't always crystal clear. What else?
Also, the study primarily relied on these cross-sectional age gaps. Basically, a single snapshot measurement at one point in time. That only gives an approximation of how fast aging is happening right then. We really need more longitudinal studies that take frequent measurements over many years to accurately track how aging rates change over time for individuals.
Right, to see the trajectory, not just the snapshot. And what about the order in which organs age? Is there like a set sequence that happens to everyone as they get older?
That's another big open question. While we know that having multiple aged organs becomes more common as people get chronologically older, the specific order in which different organs tend to age for individuals is still largely undefined. Does the heart usually go first or the kidneys? We don't know yet. And there was another interesting, slightly counterintuitive finding. It turned out that individuals with broad, highly youthful organ profiles across the board, except for the brain and immune system, remember, those gatekeepers were not necessarily protected from mortality.
Wait, being too youthful wasn't always good.
In some systems, potentially yes. It sounds strange, but this actually aligns with a pattern sometimes seen in medical data called U-shaped associations. This is where extremely low levels of a biomarker, just like extremely high levels, can sometimes indicate increased risk.
Hmm.
It suggests that maybe extreme youthfulness in certain biological measures isn't always optimal and needs more investigation. It's complex.
That is definitely complex. And one more thing, you mentioned the UK Biobank. Those participants were predominantly of European ancestry, weren't they?
Yes, that's a very important point.
So it sounds like these organ age estimates might need some recalibration, some adjustment for people with more diverse genetic backgrounds or different environmental exposures before we can widely apply them.
Absolutely, that's a critical next step. Broader studies encompassing much more diverse global populations will be crucial for ensuring the universal validity and application of this kind of organ age testing.
Okay, so to kind of wrap up, this deep dive really shows we're moving closer than ever to understanding our internal health with incredible precision. We're starting to distinguish between the number on your birthday cake, your chronological age, and the actual biological age of your vital organs inside.
It's a fascinating frontier.
The idea that a simple blood test could one day tell you the secret age of your brain or your heart and what that implies for your future, it's certainly profound, almost mind-boggling, and it shifts the focus, doesn't it? This isn't just about adding more years to your life necessarily, but maybe more about adding healthy, functional life to your years by understanding and supporting your body's individual aging journey.
That's the ultimate goal, I think. Quality of life, health span.
So thinking about all this, what stands out most to you, the listener? If your brain and immune system truly are these potential gatekeepers of longevity, as the study suggests, what immediate, modifiable lifestyle choices might you consider prioritizing right now, knowing they could have an outsized impact on how these most vital systems age? What small change could potentially make a big difference down the road in the biological age of your own personal gatekeepers? Something to think about.
Thanks for tuning in to the Health Headliner podcast by To Digital. Like and subscribe for more health news and breakthroughs. Stay healthy and informed. See you next time.